launching your journey from doubt to courage, obligation to motivation, and mundane to adventure. On Tuesday, we got to tell you a little bit of our story of why we are so passionate about adventure, our experience with living adventurously, and why we want to help other people with that as well. And now we're very excited because we're going to get to share with you some other adventures as well. And today we have a special guest who is an adventurer that we want to tell you about. If you remember, our definition of adventure is exploring unknown territory. So you have your adventurers, they go hike mountains and they swim channels and maybe they, I don't know, wrestle crocodiles or something. That's what we sometimes think of as adventurers. But we want to help you think also of another view of adventure. And
Because really,
that's
all those adventures, they take an adventurous mindset, right? It takes overcoming fear and doubt, having courage to be able to do those things. And so, what are those
Exactly.
other things you were going to mention?
Yeah, so we want to use that same mindset, like Brian just said, that adventurous mindset, and it applies to so many other areas of life. It applies to relationships, it applies to business, it applies to personal goals that we have. And so when we talk about adventures, yes, we do mean those traditional adventures, and we love those, but we also mean other life adventures. So when we have adventurers on, we're going to have adventurers from all walks of life to share a little bit of their story with you.
And so, yeah, we have a guest today that we got to know just about a year ago. Her name is DeeDee Fitch, and we're going to bring her on here live. She's coming on here, and we are so excited to have DeeDee with us.
Hi, Brian.
DeeDee, thanks for
everyone.
joining us.
Thank you for asking me.
Yeah, so DeeDee is someone that we met recently. She was a client with Marianne in coaching, and she has just impressed us so much with her spark for life, her courage, and just the way that she lives adventurously in the ways that we've been talking about over the last few weeks.
And we got to, can I jump in? We've got to know DeeDee in so many different capacities that we've got to interact and see her really in many walks of life, which has been so fun to see this adventurous side of her.
She's the proud mother of two successful human beings, and she's raised them well. She's been married for 45 years. She's just recently retired from a 50-year career.
Wow.
And she's always had an entrepreneurial mindset. And as you hear more of her story, you realize that she's really been a risk taker over her life. And she's had courage to take steps that many people would be afraid to take. And so we just have been really inspired by DeeDee and her story. And we just brought her on today to hear more about the story and how she started a business when she was 65 years old. You don't hear many like that. And so, DeeDee, thanks for joining us. Can you tell us a little bit more about your story and how you started that business when you were 65?
Well, thank you, Brian. I started a business almost on a whim because that's kind of the way I think that my entrepreneurial spirit has always made me a risk taker and has always led me to figure things out. I have figured it out always, even when it seemed unfigureoutable. But I just have always figured it out. And I was looking for more. I loved my hairstyling career. I don't want anybody to think I didn't. It was a great career, but it was a not a dead end. I had come to the end of it. That was just it. But I wasn't ready to stop. I wasn't ready to sit in my rocking chair and knit sweaters because there's just way too much adventure out there, way too much of life that I hadn't experienced yet.
That must have taken a lot of courage for you to start that.
It did, but that feeling of I have always figured it out. There have been times in my life from the time I was a young adult where, I have been faced with situations that weren't ideal. And I just knew that if I didn't figure it out, it wasn't going to get figured out. So I figured that out. I can figure this out. And that is where courage is just a motivator. It's just fear is just a motivator for me to lock into my courage that I know I have because I've had it before. And if you look back on your lives, you know that you have figured things out when you first looked at your firstborn child. I'm sure, like me, you looked at him and thought, now what? And what do I do now? And then you just determine that you are going to figure it out. And that's just kind of how I've approached things in life.
That's so true. I don't know if you saw the story that I told of our firstborn, and I kept having dreams that he was 2 inches tall, and I kept losing him all around the house. But that feeling of, I don't know what to do in this situation, but you got to figure it out. I love that.
Yeah, yeah. And I think having your first child really brings you to a point of realizing that you are more than you think you are.
Hmm.
So you've had all this courage over your years. What doubts did you have? What doubts and fears did you really have to overcome? Because a lot of times people look at those that are adventurous and think they don't have any fears, they don't have any doubts. But what are some of those doubts and fears that you've had?
Yeah, we have them, believe me. What are people going to think of me starting a business when I'm 65, when I should be wanting to sit in my rocking chair and knit sweaters? What are my grandchildren going to think? And that was a real motivator, because I want them to think that their Grammy is adventurous, is brave, is courageous, can do hard things. And I want to be an example for them. I want to leave a legacy of courage and adventure. And whatever, if that means travel, if that means business, if that means whatever, taking that education, taking that step that maybe is the road less traveled. And you can't worry about what people think. You can't worry about if you fail, because there is no failure in try. There, you just do it. And there may be a different path that you hadn't anticipated, but that is part of the adventure. It's not a failure. So those are
So
things.
have you had failures? Have you had failures in your life then?
Not really, no. I mean, well, I've had different paths, things
Well, I
that
love
didn't
that
work out.
about you.
Pardon?
I said, I love that about you, that even that you think, well, it just took me on a different path. It didn't
Yeah,
dead end you
yeah,
ever. Is that what I'm hearing?
yeah. I can't do math very well, so I guess that's a failure, but I don't care about that. So
It may
it's
not have
not
gone
really.
as you had hoped, but you took that as an opportunity instead of like Mary Ann said, a
Yes,
dead end or a failure.
yes.
Yeah.
And me not being able to do math has given me the opportunity to talk to other people that can do math. So that is not a failure either.
Opportunity.
Well, can you share one of those stories? You said many times over your life you had to overcome doubts, you had to overcome fear. Can you share one of those stories with us, just to
Sure.
invite us into your life a little bit more?
Okay. Well, I mentioned how impactful becoming a mother was, and that was 45 years ago now. And I determined when I was 5 months pregnant that I did not want the person I was married to be the parent to parent with me. So I left. Which was a very good move, and that was an opportunity. I never planned on that happening, of course. It wasn't what I set out to do when I got married, but it was an opportunity for me to have a better future, for my child to have a better future, for me to pivot and do better things and do the right thing.
Yeah, and now you've been married for 45 years. Wow,
Yes, yes,
how
yeah.
exciting.
Wow.
So
And
what? So what?
I knew him 2 weeks when we got married.
Oh wow, you are an adventurer. Wow, you're just like go for it. You just
I
know it
guess
and
that
go
was
for it.
a risk, yeah.
So what's next, DeeDee? What's your next adventure? What's next step in this adventure that you're on now?
Oh, the next step is moving up in my business, growing my business. I have a goal by the end of 2020, and I'm on track to do it. And learning more about business. It never occurred to me that I had a business mind, but I kind of do. And developing that and living in trust. every day, and one step, one foot in front of the other, trusting every day. I'm really working on trust.
Wow. Well, that's one thing that I've definitely observed in you is you're a lifelong learner. You have that growth mindset where you're continually learning and applying yourself, and not saying I should know this, and just but you're continually learning, and you're pushing others too, and how you're doing it. You're like, wow, DeeDee's doing it. I want to do it. So
Good. I'm glad.
we just thank you for your example. We thank you for joining us today and sharing more of your story about how you've been living adventurously. So
Yes, thank you so much to DeeDee for coming on. She's just been a great example in so many different ways. And she's also, we didn't mention this, but she's also in a public speaking group with us and just getting up there, and her humor just shines so much. I love the time with her. And I know you have adventures like that in your life as well. Look for them today. Say, who are those people who have an adventurous mindset? Maybe they're traditional adventures, and maybe they're a little more non-traditional adventures, what you think of, but look for them today. Thanks for joining our community today and being with us. And DeeDee, thank you for being with us. If anything we said resonated with you today, please look at our website, adventurouslife.net. You can find out more about coaching with us there and our other services as well. And we would love to work with you. We'd love to help you think through your adventurous mindset and how that can play out in your goals and dreams as well too. So we will see you on Tuesday at 11:11 right here in Oregon. Please share this page with others you think might be interested to hear more of the message of the adventurous life as well. Bye-bye.